All right, I believe we are recording. All right, so welcome everyone to the College of Education Abroad presentation. This presentation is going to be focusing on international programs that might be a good fit for any kind of College of Ed major. We're going to start with a brief overview of the different types of programs, and then we will share some specific program examples for y'all. But first, let me just do a quick intro for some of our presenters today. Well, first of all, my name is Jean Oy. I'm part of the Education Abroad team. I'm here with my colleague, Mariah Mock, and we will be presenting together today. We also have our wonderful College of Education faculty leaders. We have Professor Tackett, Professor Campos, and Professor Hunt with us, who will be sharing more about their faculty-led programs. And we also have some other College of Ed reps. I believe Noah de la Savoy is either here or will be joining us shortly, and Jesse Silva is here as well. So thanks again to the College of Ed for this partnership. We normally have a large study abroad fair that's conducted in September, but that unfortunately was canceled this past year. And so we really do hope that this focused virtual event will be a good substitute for you all. So I'm going to kick off with a very brief introduction to our program types. So typically in a normal year, we send over 4,000 students abroad. Of course, the pandemic has unfortunately slowed down travel for us over the last year and a half, but we still have sent students abroad safely. This upcoming spring semester, we are anticipating about 200 to 300 students abroad. And we do anticipate that to continue to grow and getting closer back to pre-pandemic study abroad numbers as we go into the summer as well. So we do continue to monitor the situation worldwide. We're working behind the scenes to make sure that if you want to have the opportunity to study abroad, that you have options. So normally you've got over 100 countries to choose from across 400 different types of programs. So whether you want to go abroad in 2022 or 23 or 24, we are confident that there is going to be a program for you if you plan it correctly. So let me start by giving you a few of the overview of the different program types that we have. This chart is just a good handy reference point. So the first type of program is called an exchange program. This is kind of what you might think of as a traditional study abroad program. You're basically going to a foreign university and you participate as much as you like a regular student there. So it is very, very independent. You will get involved in you pick your own courses, you'll get involved with student activities, there is support for you there, and you'll learn to navigate that university very independently. They will have an international office there to support you. The other important thing to note about exchange programs is that you do pay UT tuition, and your grades will factor into your GPA. So everything is in residence because UT has this special relationship with the foreign university. Sorry, if y'all could mute, that would be super helpful. Thanks. The second type of program is called an affiliate program. This is where UT has a special partnership with a study abroad company. There's many companies, you're typically based in the US, but they have offices all around the world. So you'll be going with a cohort of typically other US students from other universities. These programs are a little bit more structured. So you'll be taking a set number of classes. There'll be pre-planned activities that you'll do as a cohort. The difference about these programs is that these are considered transfer credit courses. So all the grades that you get and the courses that you take come back as transfer credit. And your GPA is not, the grades you get is not factored into your GPA. And then we also have faculty-led programs. These are programs led by UT professors where they're teaching a UT course abroad and you're just with a small group of UT students. So it's just like taking a course here, but abroad. And the activities that you do are going to be connected with the course that you take while you're abroad. These are also in residence, and your grades do factor into your GPA. Finally, we also have internship programs. These kind of span across, you can have an internship as part of an exchange program or an affiliate program. And we will talk about that a little bit later in the presentation too. All right, and this last kind of intro slide, just to touch upon funding and credit a little bit. These are some big buckets of questions that we get a lot from students. And these also kind of fall in line with some of the bigger myths about studying abroad, that it's too expensive, that it might delay your graduation. But with planning and flexibility, this is not true. First of all, the real cost of studying abroad can actually be more affordable than the cost of a semester at UT. So depending on the location that you're going to and the cost of living of that location, it could actually be cheaper for you to spend a semester abroad. Secondly, if you receive financial aid here at UT, that aid does travel with you abroad. Finally, there's over $1 million of scholarships that we give away annually. There's also a lot of national scholarships that you can be eligible for to help fund your program. And in regards to credit, if you go on an approved program, you are guaranteed some kind of credit, and we will work with you to make sure that it fits in with your degree requirements. We also have a credit database that allows you to quickly search. If you're looking for a particular class, it'll match you with a program that a previous UT student has taken. So another way for you to search if you're looking for a particular credit. There also is an evaluation process where you can get courses abroad evaluated to come back to UT to best fit your degree plan. All right, that covers some of the real high-level basics. I know that was very quick overview, but I'm going to actually turn it over to my colleague Mariah, and she's going to talk with you about some specific exchange and affiliate programs for College of Ed students.
Great, thank you so much, Jean. Hi, everyone. My name is Mariah Mock. I'm a program coordinator here in Education Abroad. And I'm going to kick things off talking about some of the exchange and affiliate programs that work really well for College of Education students. Exchange and affiliate programs, like Jean talked about a little bit, do tend to be more independent programs. So especially for an exchange program, you would essentially be an international student at a host university. And for affiliate programs, you would be working directly with an affiliate partner in order to participate on the program. So there are a lot of different options for these two types of programs, and I think sometimes it can almost be overwhelming how many options there are. So that's why we want to highlight just a few that really have great opportunities specifically for education majors. So first, we want to highlight some of the exchange partners in Australia. And as you may know, Australia's borders are currently closed due to COVID. So they're not sending any students to UT, and currently we're not sending any students to those host universities. But we are hopeful that these universities will open up for exchange in summer 2022 or potentially fall 2022. So as you're looking ahead at the opportunities, definitely keep these in mind. It does take a little bit more time to plan to participate on an exchange program. So these are great ones to keep in mind for the future. Firstly, the University of Melbourne is a great university that's in the south of Australia along the coast. Melbourne is a really vibrant, interesting city with a really strong arts and music scene. So in some ways you could say that it's kind of similar to Austin. It also is great for education majors. It is a QS World Rankings number 12 spot for education. So it's a phenomenal university for taking education classes. They also have a spring-friendly option at the University of Melbourne, and this is really important because Australia's academic calendar is quite different than the US's. So that means that for the spring semester, sometimes it can be difficult to fit that opportunity in with your classes at UT. But the University of Melbourne and also the University of Sydney have spring options that work really well with the US academic calendar. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Next, we have the University of Sydney. So this is a little bit further up that east coast of Australia. As you see on the slide here, Sydney is a beautiful city along the harbor, really vibrant, large city, about 5 million people. And the university is very large, about 60,000 students. So if you're looking for kind of a similar large university feel as UT, this is a great opportunity. They also have that spring-friendly option at the University of Sydney and also internship opportunities. So if you're looking to take an internship along with your coursework, this is a really great university for you. And then finally, the University of Queensland, which is even further north of that east coast of Australia, is in Brisbane. It's a really interesting area that has a lot of diversity around it as far as the climate and the geography. There is rainforest nearby, deserts, a lot of coastline. And it is a QS Global ranked number 47 university. So also a phenomenal university to take advantage of. A lot of the courses at the University of Queensland also focus on Australia-centric topics. So if you're interested in how the educational system works in Australia and how that compares to the US, this could be a really interesting university for you. Next, we're going to talk about some of the universities in England. And we wanted to focus on partners that were outside of London because so many students just think about London when they think of England. And there are many phenomenal educational partners that we have throughout England. So the first one is Oxford Brookes University, located in Oxford, England. This is about an hour train ride away from London. So if you're looking for kind of a smaller city and a smaller campus experience, but you still want to have easy access to London, this is a really kind of great mix of both worlds. This university has great opportunities for education and kinesiology majors, if we do happen to have any kinesiology majors on the call as well. These universities in England do follow the British instructional model. So what that means is that they run their classes a little bit different than in the US. Typically, students need to be more independent in their learning. There are less contact hours with professors, and you have less assignments in general. So you really have to be more self-paced and independent in your studies. So that's something to keep in mind with the English universities. Next is the University of Bristol. This university is ranked number 36 for the QS World Rankings for education majors, which beats out UT a little bit. UT is number 39. It is considered an Ivy League university in England, so it's extremely prominent and highly regarded. And similar to Oxford, this is a bit of a smaller city, so you can really get more plugged into the community and the university maybe a little bit more easily. And it's about an hour-and-a-half train ride away from London, so still really great access there to the big city. Next, we're going to look at two universities in Scotland. These universities are quite close to each other, actually, and you could say they're kind of rivals in some ways in Scotland. Glasgow is on the west coast of the island, and Edinburgh is on the east coast of the island. So Glasgow tends to be seen as more of a bit of like a modern city, more of a big music scene there, where Edinburgh is more of a cultural and historical hub. That also, goes along with kind of the communities that the universities have and the way that the campuses feel. So I think those are two important things to keep in mind if you're considering one or the other. Both are very highly ranked in the QS World Rankings for education and have a lot of course offerings as well. Next, we're going to look at some opportunities in Scandinavia. The first opportunity is Aarhus University. I think I'm saying that right. The Danish language isn't the easiest. But it is Denmark's second oldest and second largest university. So it is, once again, quite a big university and large campus. There are about 35,000 students, undergraduate students at Aarhus. Most of the courses are taught in English, but they do have some courses taught in Danish if you would happen to have some Danish language skills. If you don't, at the beginning of every semester, they have a 3-week kind of crash course in Danish. So you can still pick up some of those language skills. And next is the DIS Child Development and Diversity Program. This is an affiliate provider, DIS. And this program really focuses specifically on the Scandinavian approach to education. DIS has a lot of hands-on aspects to their program. So you would have a practicum type experience where you would actually be going into preschools, elementary schools, and seeing how the schools and the teachers really run their classrooms. Next, we're going to look at Hong Kong and Singapore. So first is the Chinese University of Hong Kong, or CUHK. CUHK has semester-long exchange program options, but they also have summer programs. So if you're interested in more of a short-term opportunity, that exists with this university. CUHK is a top 10 university in Asia and top 50 in the world. So it is very highly renowned. And I had the opportunity to visit Hong Kong a few years ago, and I can honestly say it's one of my favorite places I've ever been. It's a very modern city, great culture, and really a strong outdoor influence, even though it is a gigantic modern city. So people love to go out into the hills on the weekends, go to the beaches. It's a very tropical location. So you really get an interesting dynamic of super modern, large urban area and outdoor opportunities as well. This program requires at least a 3.0 GPA. And there are a lot of great courses for education majors, including courses like child and adolescent development, psychology applied to learning and teaching, and understanding schooling and educational policy in Hong Kong. We also have a program with Nanyang Tech University, or NTU. This university also offers semester-long exchanges and also those summer programs. So once again, if you're looking for more of the short-term opportunities, those are there. This is the #1 university in Asia. So a great university to study at. It also has a recommended 3.0 GPA. And this is another extremely modern city, and the campus really reflects that. A lot of the campus buildings have similar styles to what you see on the slide. So a really unique learning environment. And finally, we wanted to highlight some of the opportunities in Latin America. I studied abroad in Latin America, so I have a soft spot for programs there. But firstly, we have the affiliate program with API, the Teaching Internship for Spanish Speakers. So both of these programs do require at least an intermediate level of Spanish. That is something to keep in mind. And this is a 6-week summer program where you would actually be placed into a bilingual school, and you would get to teach local students English. So if you're interested in teaching Spanish or teaching English, this is a really, really great program for you with a lot of hands-on opportunities. And then finally, there is the SIT Comparative Education and Social Change Program. This is a semester-long program based in Santiago, Chile. And I'm not sure if I mentioned where the API program was based. That one's based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. But the SIT program is based in Santiago, Chile, but it also travels to Argentina. And this one is really looking at the educational system and how, especially in Chile, it really varies based on whether the school is in an urban area or a more rural area. There are also a lot of indigenous populations in Chile. So you would also be looking at how the indigenous culture really plays into how they carry out their education. This one is a semester long, so that would be either a fall or a spring opportunity. So next, we're going to look at the internship options abroad. And most of you probably, have either had an internship or thought about having an internship and really understand the benefit of an internship. But it essentially lets you try out your intended career before you pursue full-time work. And so, of course, there is that inherent benefit to having an internship, but having an internship abroad even heightens those benefits. So you can see how your fields changes in a different country and a different culture when you intern abroad. And this is really important if you consider things like if you're a kinesiology major, how would healthcare change in a socialized medicine environment? Or in developing nations, how does education play out when there might not be steady access to internet, or there might not be a lot of smart classroom technologies available? So it really allows you to see those changes that happen in your field in different areas. You also get to learn how to communicate with people from different cultures. And even if you don't plan to work abroad, you're going to work with people from all different backgrounds, different cultures, and definitely different ways of communicating. So this is a really important skill. You also get to develop your hard skills. So these are the skills that you would be learning in your major, but also your transferable skills. And these skills are honestly the hardest for companies and organizations to hire for, and also the hardest to train. So those are things like resiliency, independence, teamwork. If you're able to demonstrate in an interview that you have those transferable skills, that's really going to push your application towards the top. You also get to establish a professional network across the world, which is very invaluable, and then bring really unique anecdotes and experiences to your job search. So about 10% of US undergraduates study abroad, and even less have an internship abroad. So this is something that's really going to jump out on your resume, and recruiters will want to talk to you about that. So for the programs themselves for internships, these placements are not paid. So that's something really important to highlight. And that is due to the visa and work permit regulations. So you cannot have a paid job abroad unless you're specifically sponsored by a company, and undergraduate students are not eligible for that. We do have a lot of scholarships though that help to offset the costs of these programs, so definitely make sure that you take advantage of those. Most of the placements are very customized. So you would fill out a survey and an application and usually have an interview as well, where you are talking about your interests and the skills that you're bringing to the table. And then your placement is found just for you and what your goals are for the internship. You will have less control over the company name. So that's something important. If you're looking to intern at a very specific company abroad, you would want to apply to that company directly. For these internship programs, you're usually going to be placed with a smaller startup company. And that can be really helpful if you are looking to get a big overarching view of how the company or the organization works. So you might have lunch every week with someone on the leadership team. You'll get to see how all the different kind of departments work. So you get, I would say, a more well-rounded experience usually with a startup company. The networking is done for you. So you fill out the application and almost always the guarantee of placement is there with these programs. So you don't have to worry about not actually getting an internship. And then the companies are vetted by the internship provider as well. So you know that these are legitimate companies and good internships. There's also a lot of support that comes with these programs, such as visa support to make sure that your stay abroad is legal, housing arrangements, 24/7 on the ground emergency support, and also really great comprehensive international health insurance if you would need to utilize the healthcare abroad. There are 3 different internship program types. So the first type would be similar to what I mentioned in the previous section, where there are some programs and exchange partners where you can be taking coursework and then also have a part-time internship. So if you're looking to take advantage of both of those types of experiences while you're abroad, and maybe you need specific classes and credits in order to stay on track for graduation, but you also want to get that work experience, then this type would be ideal for you. There are also internships without coursework. So if you really want to focus on your internship and work while you're abroad, this would be a great option. And typically you would be working 30 to 40 hours a week, so full time. And then you wouldn't be gaining credit for that experience unless you would be tying in a virtual UT internship course somehow. And then finally, we also have faculty-driven internships. These are internships where you would be placed with a partner abroad that has a direct relationship with a faculty member here on campus. And those are also full-time internships, so usually 30 to 40 hours a week. Picking your program can be a bit overwhelming. We have over 100 different internship programs. So what I would recommend is going onto our website, and we have a search by major page. And this is really helpful because it narrows down your options to show you just the different programs that are best for education majors. So it's a good starting point. We don't limit what programs you go on, so you can go on any program that focuses on any subject area, but this will just give you a solid starting point to look at. And on that page, we have internships by career flyers. And the flyer that you'll probably want to look at is that experiential learning for education in classrooms and communities flyer. So this will highlight the internships that are really best for education majors. It will mention if any language requirement exists, but most of the internships don't require proficiency in a second language. So usually English is sufficient. And finally, if you are interested in learning more, we have an Internship 101 video on our virtual advising page, so definitely take a look at that. We also have those web pages and flyers that I mentioned. Certainly talk to your academic advisor. We always want to make sure that you're staying on track for graduation, that you understand the timing of your classes and credits. And you would need a resume in order to apply for an internship program. So you'd want to get started on that early and work with your department's career services office as well. And finally, if you have any questions, we have a dedicated inbox for internships that you'll see there on the slide. So you can always shoot us off an email as well. And I'm going to hand things back to Jean so that she can talk a little bit more about our faculty-led opportunities.
Thank you, Mariah. So we are great on time. We're going to spend the second half of the presentation focused on faculty-led programs, and we've got 6 wonderful College of Ed professors that are leading programs abroad next summer, and 3 of them are here today to talk about their programs. So before I introduce them, just one quick slide as a quick overview about faculty-led programs. They're bucketed into 2 types. So there's Maymesters. These are 3 to 4 weeks, and you are basically taking 1 class abroad with the UT professor. The deadline for Maymesters are coming up on November 15th, so just a little over a month away. And then we also have summer programs. These are a little bit longer, 6 to 12 weeks. The College of Ed faculty-led programs, summer programs are 6 weeks long. The deadline for that will be February 1st. Each of these faculty-led programs are going to have specific info sessions. So they're just giving like a quick teaser today. And if you want to learn more, visit our events calendar where you can find more specific information about their info sessions. And just a final note about faculty-led programs, while UT is not requiring COVID vaccinations as a student or to go abroad, we are working with on-site vendors that may require COVID vaccination. So please pay attention to any specific vaccination programs for faculty-led programs because they do vary. And with that, I'm going to start by introducing Professor Tackett, who will be traveling to Taiwan this summer, and have her go ahead and present a little bit about her program.
Sure. Thank you, Jean. I am still a little in shock that November 15th is about a month away. I'm not sure how that happened, especially as it is still 90 degrees outside. Hey y'all, happy Friday. My name is Katie Tackett, and I am an associate professor of practice in the Department of Special Education. And I am fingers crossed leading a Maymester to Taipei, Taiwan this year. So let me tell you a little bit about the program. Jean, I don't have, there you go. So the class that I'll be teaching is my absolute favorite class to teach, whether that be on campus or abroad. And it is ALDE 322, which fits into most of your degree plans in the College of Education, which is a really nice thing. So that way it keeps you on track for graduation. You're crossing off something that you have to take. We're just doing it on a tropical island off the coast of China. And this class to me is about one of the most universal aspects of being a human, and it's about disability, and really about how we can make lives easier for folks with disability without trying to fix them or treating them as if they have a disease. So a little bit about why Taipei, or why go to Taiwan. So we will be taking this class in a major modern city that just happens to be on a tropical island off the coast of China. Taipei is extremely accessible in terms of public transportation, in terms of being affordable, as well as you can get around as an English speaker. So it's a 4-week program. We will be staying in dorm rooms on a college campus in the middle of Taipei. So getting to know other young people. While we are there, we've got access to their student cafeteria as well as night markets and street food kind of right there. So I hope you will consider joining me in Taipei in May, but I honestly want to say any of these programs are amazing, whether it be a faculty-led Maymester program or summer program or an exchange program, any of those things. My biggest regret from undergrad is that I didn't do a study abroad. So I hope you all will take advantage of these opportunities. It's one of the really powerful things about coming to Texas and why you came to Texas, to have access to programs like this. So take advantage of them. I think my program is going to be wonderful, but any and all of them are going to be great.
Thanks so much, Professor Tackett. We are going to travel to Denmark now, and Professor Hunt should be on the call if you want to take it away.
Hey there, everybody. I'm not sure how to make myself seen, but it's certainly good to see all of you here. I teach, along with my good friend and close colleague, John Bartholomew, a class in Denmark, in Copenhagen, on the international Olympic movement. I've studied for most of my professional career the politics of international sport. I wrote a book on the politics of doping in sport, and it's led to a lot of great opportunities, as well as the contacts that make something like this happen. So if we could go on to the next slide, Jean. So you can see the dates there, and Copenhagen, the reason we chose it is, again, we had the contacts to make this happen, where we're going to get to go to the Danish National Olympic Committee and meet with the leaders there, the Danish Anti-Doping Agency, as well as a local professional sport team. And we also chose Copenhagen because it is a wonderfully vibrant city with a great culture. And most of the people, we didn't want to go to a primarily English-speaking country, but we did want to go somewhere where the vast majority of people did speak English. So it's very easy to get around, and they're also incredibly nice as a group. And it's also a hub. So we teach Monday to Thursday, and then that means that students, if they want to, can make a trip to another country because Copenhagen is a hub with great transportation to other areas. So if we could go on, maybe. And so in terms of how the course works, I work in the first half to talk about how the Olympic movement interacts with global politics. The Olympics are the most watched single event in the world, and there's something politically powerful about that, where we're getting a view of another culture, although mediated through the media, in a way that is really singular. And in the second half of the class, my colleague, Dr. Bartholomew, talks about whether the way we actually do sport lives up to the Olympic ideal, which we see as a really pure form of sport. And he's talking primarily about youth sport and how we treat our children and interact in sporting contexts. So we would love to have you. And I want to just to say again, as Katie said, that do study abroad if you can swing it, whether it's in my program or in one of these or an exchange program somewhere else. I went to Paris as an undergraduate student, and it played a huge role in opening my eyes to the world, and it played a big role in making me want to study international politics as my profession. So I would really encourage you to do it. It's a life-changing thing. Thanks, Jean.
Thanks so much, Professor Hunt. All right, next up, we had this last slide, but I think you talked about a lot of this. I actually studied abroad in Copenhagen, and it was a gorgeous, gorgeous city. So lastly, we have got Professor Emmett Campos, who has a Maymester program in Mexico.
Hello, thank you, Jean. I'm not sure if you can see me, but thank you, Jean, for inviting us to share a little bit about Latinx identities across the Americas. I think the first slide, we got a program description, so I won't read that. But again, we're going to be exploring, as the title of the class suggests, we're going to be looking at Latinx identity formation, both comparing those factors and forces that impact Latinx identity, both in the US and in Mexico. We're going to be focused on Mexico. So we have a couple of texts that we're going to be using to explore this topic. Aida Hurtado and Minhal Singha, Beyond Machismo, We're going to be drawing from that text, as well as Macias Gonzalez and Rubenstein on masculinity and sexuality in modern Mexico. So those are going to be the two core texts. And of course, the titles of those texts underscore the sub-themes that we're going to be exploring with regard to that topic, that broad topic. But it's not just going to be textbooks, of course. We're going to incorporate some films and videos for you to also watch. We watched a couple of Cantinflas films. I don't know if you're familiar with Cantinflas, but he's a famous actor, director, also a social activist in Mexico. And so we're going to be looking at a couple of films of his that explores this topic. We also showed students a more contemporary film about Mexican youth subculture. And so we're going to be incorporating some of that in the classroom experience. But of course, as you probably understand, Maymester is also about those excursions and those outside classroom experiences. So we have a lot planned for you in that regard. We're going to be traveling. First of all, we're going to be based in Puebla, Mexico, which is about an hour and a half outside of Mexico City. Probably most of you have heard of Mexico City for sure, maybe not Puebla, but Puebla in itself is a large metropolis, about 3.5 million. And there's a small community called Cholula, where for the university is going to be hosting us is based, University de las Americas Puebla. And so we're going to be using Cholula as a base there at the UDLAP campus and traveling to Puebla. We got a couple of day trips planned to Puebla. We're also going to be traveling, of course, to Mexico City. Mexico City is a huge city, as many of you know, 25, 30 million population. And so we're going to try to get as much as we can packed into those 2 days and one overnight stay. So we'll be traveling to Mexico City, exploring some of the highlights of our trip there. We're going to explore the Zócalo, which is the main plaza in the central part of Mexico. And from there, we'll be visiting some cathedrals, Catedral Metropolitana. We're going to visit Bellas Artes, a couple of other cultural sites. There's some museums in Mexico we're going to visit. We're going to travel to Chapultepec Park. There's a number of museums there we'll visit. Many of you are probably familiar with the artist Frida Kahlo. She has a museum in Coyoacán, and we're going to be visiting her museum in Coyoacán. Now, Coyoacán is representative of about 8 or 10 neighborhoods. Actually, there's many more neighborhoods, communities in Mexico City. It's many communities within this large city, as you can imagine. And that's one of the more famous neighborhoods because the Frida Kahlo Museum is housed there. But there's many other things exploring Coyoacán. So we'll be visiting Coyoacán, Roma, La Condesa, maybe some other neighborhoods if we have time. So it's going to be a really great trip to Mexico City. And so again, exploring those topics and understanding some of the artwork in the museums and the cultural sites that are to explore that topic. Now, the last trip we're taking, and this we weren't able to do this because of COVID this year, but we're planning a 3-day, 2-night trip to Oaxaca City. And there we'll be visiting with the Muche. It's a Zapotec community who reside a few hours outside of Oaxaca City. But we'll be exploring Oaxaca City again, visiting some of those indigenous communities, some of the museums and universities there as well. The last thing I'll say is that I mentioned UDLAP is going to be our host institution. I'll just say a little bit about that campus. It's really a beautiful campus, private institution, about 10,000 students. And we're kind of at the base of some mountains there. As you may know about Mexico, there's a lot of coastline, right? Pacific, Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, but a lot of Mexico is mountainous, right? Something like 60 or 70% of Mexico is mountainous. So we're going to be, wherever we travel, you're going to see mountains. And we just happen to be based near a couple of mountains and volcanoes, the most famous volcanoes in Mexico, Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl. And so you'll be able to see those from that campus, and students will be staying in dorms, eating on campus. You'll be able to fully engage with students and faculty. Of course, I'm knocking on wood there. I'm hoping that we'll be able to do all that. Because of COVID-19, we weren't able to do some of that this year. We had to streamline some of that programming, but we're gonna have a fully developed program experience. And I'll close, if I may, Jean, by just adding the service learning component, and that's an important component that we have woven into our study abroad. And you're gonna have the opportunity to work with some NGOs in Puebla and Cholula. So we're working with schools and maybe some environmental groups. We're also going to try to match these organizations and that experience with that service learning that experiential part of the course, we're going to base those organizations with your interests. And so once we determine the students that are going to be joining us, we'll be sure to match you up with those organizations that are tied to your interests. So again, as Jean alluded to, this is just a simple teaser. We're going to talk more about our programs. So we have 2 more info sessions coming up. I think the first one was recorded, so you can also access that. But we hope you can join us for our next 2 info sessions, and you'll be able to meet myself and Dr. Science, who's going to be co-teaching this class. So he wasn't able to make it, sends his regrets, but thank you so much. And I have to reiterate what everybody else has said. You've got to do a study abroad. It's a wonderful experience. We're kind of dedicating the work that we do to get more students of color to go study abroad, right? Because something like 20% of all students that study abroad are students of color. And so our work with the Division of Diversity Community Engagement, they also have a couple other programs. Our work is to try to build on those numbers and get more students of color to join us. But we welcome any and all students to join us because, of course, Mexico is a wonderful country and it's right down the road from us. So I'll stop there. Thank you, Jean, so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Campos. Let's see. So we've got 3 more faculty-led programs to talk about in the last couple of minutes. Dr. Reddick, I think I just saw you pop on the call. Would you like to go? Are you ready to talk right now? Or would you like me to, I can talk about Luis's program first, but we could
actually, Jane, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, can you give me like 2 minutes? I'm walking out of a meeting, so just give me 2 minits and go in with Luis and I'll get you guys in 2.
Okay, thanks. All right, so I'm going to, Luis Urieta was not able to join this, so I'm going to talk about his program very quickly. He is running a Guatemala program in the summer. So this is one of our summer programs, and it's actually happening during the second half, during the summer session 2. So just a quick overview, this program is going to be exploring the relationship between education and larger society. Because you're based in Guatemala, it's going to revolve very heavily around the Guatemalan culture. You will be immersed in the language while living with host families. As part of the program, you're going to be spending time in local schools and you're going to undertake an ESL internship at a preschool while learning about the cultural and social context of education in Guatemala and the US. So you'll be able to deliver some ESL lessons to Mayan's children. You'll be exploring Maya villages. And this is one of the courses where you'll be, or one of the programs you'll be actually staying with you'll be taking 2 classes. So the first class is ALD 327G. It is cross-listed with LAS 322. This first class is going to be taught by Professor Urieta. And you will also be taking a second class, and this will be your language class. And you've got a few options of this the language class. These are varying levels of Spanish. So this 319S level actually requires no prerequisite. So if you are a beginner level, you would take that one. And the 318 and 327 are some intermediate and upper division levels. You can also take this LAS 319S class, and this is actually, you'll be learning Cachiquel. So the credits for this program, 3 will be in residence. The ALD or LAS class is going to be in residence because it's taught by a UT professor, and then the language class will come through as transfer credit. And you will be getting a global cultures flag as part of this program. Professor Urieta has some more info sessions, so please join those if you want to learn a little bit more. And Dr. Reddick, are you ready now? Okay, I'm going to give him another minute and go on to our other program in Japan. This program is led by Professor Tanaka. He will be doing a master in Tokyo, Japan. And The reason for selecting Japan is for this particular program, Japan is one of the world's healthiest and longest living populations. As you all know, is a host of the 2021 Summer Olympics. So it really is the perfect place to study sports science, exercise physiology, physical activity, health, sport nutrition, and lifestyle. Professor Tanaka is from Tokyo, and so he's got great connections locally. You will be experiencing excursions around Tokyo to the Olympic Training Center, the Olympic stadiums and venues. We hope for a visit to the National Institute of Health and Nutrition, as well as other cultural outings like going to a baseball game. There's a day trip and a drumming workshop as well. Another cool thing about this program is that you'll be living with homestay families. So you'll be living with Japanese families. 2 meals will be provided as part of that. And we hope that that will just add to meaningful cultural immersion and interactions for you all. Let's see. This program in the spring, there is going to be a 119 course associated with it. So you'll be taking a 119 course in the spring and meet the other students that you're going abroad with. And then while you're actually abroad, you can select from any of these 3 kinesiology classes, either 352, 310, or 321, whichever one fits best with your degree plan. And generally, you're going to have, while you're in Japan, you'll have classes Monday through Thursdays in the mornings, and then the afternoons are free for excursions. And then, again, you'll be getting 3 credits while you're abroad. All right. Dr. Reddick, are you available now?
I am available, yes. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, thanks everybody for being here, and apologies, I ran the meeting. I see Dr. Delisavoy got out before I did, but I was still in that meeting. But it's great to be here, and I'm glad to talk to you about my faculty-led program called Exploring UK Education. It takes place in the United Kingdom, and as of now, it's in Cambridge. We had some information to talk about, but I think Cambridge, which is the east part of England, is where we're going to be located. Those are the dates. Like the other programs, we operate in a homestay model, so you'll be living with a British family, and that can be an entire nuclear family, or it could be, a single person who has a space in their house, and you're usually in pairs. So all of our students are living with somebody from the program. What do? We study issues of inequity and inequality in UK education, and use a comparative sort of analysis to think about our experiences in both K-12 education and higher education and special education. So there's no actual requirement that you have to have a background in education. Literally, if you've gone to school, that's sufficient. But we do want you to be curious about education, and certainly bring those interests to bear, because the UK has many commonalities between the American system, but also a number of significant differences. And also we're at a time where they are also sort of working through a racial reckoning with Brexit and other things with BLM that are happening in the UK. So we will be working out of Cambridge, and of course Cambridge University is there, but we also travel to Oxford and visit Pembroke College there. And in fact, Pembroke is across the street from Christ Church College, which is where Harry Potter's dining room scenes were filmed. So we did get thrown out of that particular place because we were taking way too long taking pictures. We were actually told by the guide to get out the building because we had been there too long. What else do we have to show slide-wise? Anything else? Oh yeah, so it's listed as an ALD 379 course, which is International Learning Seminar. It's also cross-listed as an ELP graduate course. So if you are a person who is going to be a senior and you're looking at graduate school, most graduate programs allow you to transfer in 6 hours. You could take it as that course. Any of you who are Plan 2 majors as well as in education, that's also an option, the TC 358 course. And the AFR 372D is also a Black Studies course. So it's offered in a lot of different places. It brings you the global cultures flag. And you can see pictures of our students in places like Grantchester having tea and scones. And you've got people punting on the River Cam, which is like kind of a really cool boating experience. And of course, the Longhorn Pride is always there. So you can see people hanging out and having RUTs and stuff. But also a month is a long time. So you actually get a chance to really get to know the Cambridge community a little bit. So yeah, what do we have next? Anything else? I think that's it. So anyway, that's what my trip is about. I'm Rich Reddick. You can always reach out to me on text or email. I'm also doing it with Dr. Terrence Green, and we're both in the Education Leadership and Policy Department. You can reach out to us either through Jean or us directly, and we're happy to talk to you about it. We have more info sessions coming up, so please make time to come and visit if you're interested. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, everyone. I know we've just got a few minutes left, but I did want to open the space up for Jesse to say a few words and Noah to kind of wrap up.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Students, we're really glad that y'all are here. Thank you for joining us today. Main thing, I think, and it was on that slide that Jean had up a minute ago, but talk to your advisors as quickly as possible. Also, keep in mind, I know a lot of you that are KHE students heard a lot about education-oriented classes, and a lot of students, and then also the education students hearing about the KHE classes. Know that if there's something of interest, talk to us, because we're very likely to find a way to fit it in your degree plan, even if it doesn't sound like it's supposed to be a part of your major. Y'all are all College of Education. We want to encourage you all to go abroad. The more that you go abroad, the better. So please make sure you talk to your advisors. I'll put the phone number in the chat so that you can call us and set up your appointments. I will tell you all in this room, we are a little bit short-staffed, so it is going to take a little bit more time to get on our calendars, but don't let that discourage you. Call, get on, we'll figure it out, okay?
Thank you so much, Jesse. And Noah, did you want to say a few words?
Yes, I'll just really quickly say a couple of things. I am the chair of the College of Education Study Abroad Committee, and I just want to really reiterate that these are really powerful experiences. I have led the Guatemala program a couple of times, and I know these programs well in the faculty, and they're transformative for students in a couple of ways. One, people get a totally different understanding of themselves in relation to global contexts that they've never imagined, never been to. It gives us a totally different way to understand who we are when we have this cross-cultural experience, and also to develop the independence to explore these places. That's very powerful. And then the other thing is I've found students rethink their whole trajectories, educationally, career-wise. Suddenly folks are interested in new things. They're interested in new places that they want to work with. And so I just want to emphasize that these are very, very powerful experiences, and in a very positive way. And I really urge you to take advantage of the tremendous opportunities we have in the college and the great support from the Texas Global Office. So thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone. That does conclude our presentation. Again, I will pull the roster from the Zoom session and send out the slides and make sure all the links to the different programs that we talked about are hyperlinked, so you have access to the right contact information and info sessions that are coming up. Again, thank you so much for spending your Friday with us. We hope that you learned something, and we really do hope to see you abroad soon. Thank you. Bye.
TES students, if y'all didn't put your ID in the chat, please make sure to send it to me. Thank you.